Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to another recording of the Sexy Brutale. Let's continue. So, I'm having a bit of a struggle in this second to last setup, in that I am not sure where the timing is on all of this. Like, interesting. You can't hear what your own character says, which is weird. And this door just does not want to work. So, I don't even think I really need to light this up. I was thinking I needed 2 pulls to get this right. But maybe he does 2 pulls in general. So, let's just go in here and hide and see what happens here. Or I was doing 3 pulls instead of 2 pulls. Meanwhile, as we're just wasting time, there's very little you can do. We can look at the map and we can scrub through the timeline, but I don't think scrubbing through the timeline actually moves to that point. If it did, then this guy would be in here. Like, I don't even think there might be a way out of this area now. Like, I am just utterly trapped. This way. I guess that's why this doesn't really do anything when you do get trapped, right? So he's gonna spin this, pull the arm. I've pulled it once, which should probably not have it line up on the heart. So I'm waiting for this guy to go away, to come into this. Alright. And so I'm just going to leave it at that and go in here. But there's kind of nothing to do. Like, I can't hit the Y button and use the ornate pocket watch as an item. And if I were to hit the left bump button, that would not do anything. It oddly seems like in this scenario and this scenario only, skipping to 4 p.m. late afternoon is beneficial, because there's just nothing you can do until then. I could spend this extra time trying to investigate other areas, but I don't think that there actually are any other areas where I will unlock or collect any collectible, other than possibly a invitation, if I wait till the people in the spider room are dead, which would be about 7. I can go that way and maybe get an invitation off the character. But yeah, that's about the only thing I think I can do. There's too many ghosts in this room for their own good. It doesn't quite make a lot of sense. The lady in the bottom corner, for instance, doesn't feel like she should be there. The guy in the top left doesn't feel like he should be there. And even the lady listening to the orchestra just doesn't feel like she should be there. If anything, it just kind of gives you this weird feeling that there should have been a lot more ghosts in the rest of the area. And I guess ultimately, if we do succeed, or when we do succeed in saving the 2 characters we need to save at this point, then we'll get into the basement, and that's where I imagine we'll see a lot of stuff. Now, what would be interesting is to talk to the ghost who just stole something off the guy, because if he shouldn't be able to give me an invitation again. So yeah, you do have different dialogue there. So then the question comes down to this. Like, where is the person that comes and locks these down? Because we saw that guy, he spun it once, and then that is that. So there must be a bad guy somewhere. Let's see, let's come out of here. Somewhere around here, there has to be a bad guy that shows up, but time is burning. So yeah, I'm confused to say the least. We're now hearing him spin the other spinner, which we'd have to go and adjust and deal with that also. Unless these things just lock down on their own, which might be the case, is that you might just not have enough time. It's 8 p.m. But we need to know if a bad guy, I assume it's a bad guy, is going to come and lock down these spinners. He has to do it fairly late in the game, and does he actually activate the spinners, or does he just leave them wherever they are? And honestly, we probably should see if he changes it from the set setting. And so we probably should get it to the right setting, because that will be more informative. That should be in the right setting, but maybe it is randomized. Okay. But yeah, it would be more informative to see what happens, or who locks us down, if they will change it from being correct. Alright. So once the cutscene happens, the statue arm is locked into place and can't be moved. Okay. Alright, well then I guess the answer probably lies in just trying to chase after the guy and move as fast as possible. Okay. And this is going to get fairly repetitive. I'm going to do 2 pulls instead of 3 pulls. Now see, it is just like totally random. So whatever he decides to do is the thing you have to deal with. And I guess in this room there is really no benefit to lighting the candle. Yeah. 2 pulls got it into the right position. Unless I had some other ability or item that could remove the arm, he's just going to put it out of the right position, or the correct position. And so I don't know what I'm supposed to do after this point. Like, because you're just going to have a decent amount of experience. Says the statue is here just as he said it would be, almost like you could move the statue's location. Pull the arm, you say. There you go, just like he said. Can't say I wasn't willing to help out the guy. Maybe just one quick drink. Yep. If I could move this one out of position somewhere else, which it does seem like you might be able to do that, but maybe you do that later on from the basement. Alright. Yeah. So now we've got a lot of free time, basically. My only hope would be that maybe I just shouldn't have done anything there, or maybe I just sit and wait. Like, not a lot to do. The entrance room is fine, and you can see the conversation between the guy who stole the arm for this room is happening, which means I do just need to make a mad dash, and I don't know how I'm really going to make that mad dash. Like, I'm going to have to run around as quickly as possible. I don't know if having Y to center the map is really necessary, but I guess you've got a button, so you might as well use it. I don't think the ghost character does anything around this murder, so talking to him I think is kind of useless. We do have that whole library section, and it doesn't seem like there's anybody that even walks through the library. Which is weird. It would almost imply that maybe you were supposed to die in the library, or somebody else will die the next day in the library. We have been going through Saturday over and over and over again, so it wouldn't be super crazy if we actually did get to a Sunday and then all of the characters have to be saved a second time for like upgraded abilities. Although I don't know what an upgraded ghost seeing ability would be, other than maybe you don't have to light candles anymore, or upgraded. Well, some of the other abilities might work. Let's see. Upgraded hearing to hear even further makes sense. Upgraded clock mastery makes sense. Upgraded ghost seeing ability. Upgraded shattering voice, not so much. Upgraded lock picking, not so much though. It definitely is a case now where the back half of this game is getting dangerously close to feeling like a grind. Nowhere as bad as any of the nonary games, obviously, which particularly like the first nonary game, 999, went on forever. Zero Time Dilemma, the third game in the series, actually was fairly brisk in comparison to most visual novels. But a lot of that comes to it being voice acted instead of having to actually read things out loud as a YouTuber. But yeah, if you get into a cycle of failure, if you're just not getting that one concept, which I very well may not be getting that one concept that's necessary to succeed here, then there's room for failure. Alright. So he pulls that once. But it does seem fairly random, unless there's a way to cheat all of these and rig them, which is a possibility. So now I'm probably going to have to pull this more than once, too. And we've got, that's right at 8 p.m. While I'm pulling this, I guess he's getting out of the way. So this gives me an opportunity to rush this direction, and that is what we're doing. Like, let's check the map. Can I go to the right? Where am I? I'm here. So if I just wait until this guy is out of this room, then I can go this way. So I don't have to run all the way around, which that would have been a deal breaker, but it still feels like you have precious little time here. And see, twice now I have hit the A button and not realized I needed to hit the A button a second time, so I'm just sitting there wasting precious time on the text prompt. Right. I didn't see that actually spin. Well, we didn't do it right. Let's see if these guys die, and then I can get the invitations off of them, at least. Yep, their bodies are there. One of them crawls out of it in flames. Okay. Yeah. So it's either a matter of getting really, really lucky, or it's a matter of doing it ahead of time. It just feels like there's a ridiculous amount of weight in this setup if it is just doing it ahead of, if it's not doing it ahead of time. But also a big part of this is every time there is an A prompt, I need to just effectively double tap it and get out of the A prompts as fast as possible. Alright, I'm gonna come in here, and once again we have to wait like 2 hours. So what am I supposed to be doing at this point? Like, there's really not anybody to observe. And there's not really enough of a reason to go somewhere else and look at something else. Like, at a certain point, we may need to observe a lot more of these killers and just follow them around in each of their cycles. There's definitely less than 52 of them, though. Obviously. But yep. And so maybe that was the idea as to why there's music playing in this room, is because they knew you were going to have to spend a lot of time here. But I don't get why they're giving you such a big buffer for this final or second to last puzzle. And they didn't give you any kind of big buffers for any of the others. It seemed like in all the others there was plenty of time to wander around the entire area and at least see everything and probably see the murder. And then in the second playthrough there's more than enough time to stop the murder from happening. It may be that they just didn't polish this murder sequence as well as some of the earlier parts in the game. But I just don't know. Alright, so we pulled this once, and if it's not random, then he should end up on the hearts. If it is random, then I don't know what to do. I may just need to go backwards and adjust something else. See, no, it definitely seems like it's random. Alright. Well, obviously now that is done. Yeah, this is just random. But that doesn't mean we have to just wait for the next section. Maybe what we can do is bring up the menu and see where the broken arm is at this point. Like, as far as the timeline is concerned. These two are talking. So maybe I'm supposed to come out of here, go this way, go this way, and maybe this is just a zigzag back and forth. Wait until this is empty and this character's out of the way. I guess that would make some sense. Because this is the more difficult challenge. Right. So yeah, we just get the arm here and we'll double tap on the A button. And get done with that. And then as long as we don't run into the killer, we just run back. I feel like the danger here, though, is that the wheelchair character is going to end up coming into that room, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe it goes in a different direction to get to the room below that room. I guess that's probably the case. Alright, so that set us up fairly well. So as long as we can get in this room and hide in the cabinet, then we're good. I hit A too fast. Alright. So now we're just waiting for him to cross. And so unless we've screwed something up, this is the way to solve it, and this actually solves it fairly easily. And it may simply jump to the solution after that point. So we may not even have to wait the potential 10-15 minutes it's going to take to show it being solved. That, or we are just going to follow this guy and watch them not get burnt. And that's obviously the logical move, is that you want to follow them and watch them if the game lets you, because who knows, something else could go wrong. And see, it didn't even show the animation stopping. Aram, that's done it. And we're back to pressing A to move the story forward. Yeah, they definitely could have waited a second to show it actually line up. The statue symbols, I don't understand. They should be... This shouldn't be the correct combination. I think maybe the marquees changed them. It's possible, but if it were true, then the ones I was working towards... Well, it's too terrible to imagine what could have happened. I'm feeling better than I thought I would. Maybe I don't need this mask on right now. Yes, I rather feel a weight has been lifted. So they both take off their masks, and I'm going to get one mask ability, and you can hear the whole place shaking as more masks get removed. I just assume I'm walking through a door here, although that's the weirdest door to pick. Ah, Boone. Lafcadio. How are you, old man? Did you do something with the elevator here? I had the most terrible feeling. Boone, would you mind terribly continuing our search for Lucas? I am worried about him, but he is least likely to be offended when the concern is coming from you. And that boy loves you, Laffy. Man, it's so crazy that your name is Boone, Lafcadio, and Laffy. That's just bad writing, in my opinion. Like, having one nickname that one character calls you by is okay. Having multiple characters call you by several different names is not. Apparently the Marquis does like you. Looks up to you, you know. Even with all his crazy riches, he still has a soul has a soul that needs savings, I guess is what that means. Yeah. Effectively and practically here, they're just getting rid of the wheelchair character because that would be tiresome to have to follow and track the wheelchair character some more, even though almost certainly that's why they put her in a wheelchair in the first place, is to justify her moving incredibly slow, and the other character is moving slow because he's going to the bar and getting a drink. Plus, this old fool here owes me a drink and some staff members an apology. There will be zero apologizing the sass on that young man, I tell you, in my day. So we get another achievement. And I assume we're getting a new ability. So it's kind of funny they even pop up the menu at that point. Thanos mask is yours, Boone. But then the other mask just disappears. Or the guy was holding on to it. I wouldn't be surprised if it's an ability to speed up time. Thanos' architect insight. Genius architect Thanos Gorecki has unparalleled knowledge of the Sexy Brutale. Visiting certain areas in the mansion will trigger memories and reveal secrets. Unlock new entries in the brochure by using the power when the prompt appears. Interesting. So we may very well have to just go to every single room a second time to unlock things. He knows more about this place than any man, perhaps for Reggie. Thanos there, I kept thinking that was a girl, but I guess they're saying that was a guy. Like, Thanos Gorecki, I guess, was a guy. And that is definitely a problem of just never zooming in on any of these characters. Well, we have one more main mask to collect. With that mask and Thanos' knowledge, so much will be revealed to you. Thanos' monument is your path forward, but he can also reveal so much about this mansion and the path you've already taken. You've opened a path downwards, Boone. I want to thank you. There's something so precious down there in the dark. Come to find me. And she doesn't just dissolve. And we do get locked into the next section. And there's just a clock that checkpoints you there. So you get this ability that would be very helpful in the over areas, and then you're locked out of the over areas. So it definitely feels like there should be a way to get back up. Interesting, 4 rooms that just interconnect, and a lot more rooms. There's still a lot of room here though, too, and room enough for at least one more room there. So yeah, unless there's more to the game or a free play sandbox mode, I don't see how you could possibly have gotten all of the collectibles and gone to every room and investigated everything. There's still 6 invitations, and there's still 29 or 19 cards. These candles burn clean, reflective, pure paneling on the floor. Interesting, these candles though you can't light. This is treated like a clock. So you just start in this room. And if we can walk in a room, we'll just start in the room. 3 paintings of people you do not recognize. So maybe that means something. Meanwhile, upstairs, everybody is still going through their own same pattern. I'm not a big fan of this isometric view, and it seems very much like sometimes you get more twisted depending on the shape of the room, and sometimes you get less twisted. Okay. So in this dumbwaiter, this is where the arm would have been. So that's what I'm thinking about as far as somebody's gonna steal the arm, and we're gonna have to try and manipulate this whole area, the entirety of the Sexy Brutale mansion / casino, which really it's more of a mansion than a casino. Yep. Wasn't really expecting an Asian inspired room. still particularly dark in a lot of these rooms too. But if there is a system, if there really is a system around manipulating multiple things around this entire area to discover the secret passage, well then this lets us potentially go back up now. So we've connected this secret passage. So we could run around the overworld if necessary. It's fairly obvious that there would be a secret passage, but it does seem like you can only find the secret passages from one side and not from the other. The paintings are all scratched on the walls. Since we already have a set checkpoint that's in a decent place to just investigate, we don't need to run back up there. We should just investigate what this does. See, that bell doesn't really tell me like where somebody is going or what I was just signaling. So now that I have like the statue's arm. So how is that useful? Is the real question. Is there anything else in this room? Just... Alright, we find anything. Boom, this place is not like the rest of the mansion. This is where the Marquis keeps some of his most powerful secrets locked up tight. Behind that statue, I believe there is a door. We need to find a way to open it. If I can talk to him, if I could just see what... I cannot say, please Boone. Help me see what's behind this door. So that may be our goal, is to see what's behind this door before we get into anything else. Let's see, there's a clear tube that may indicate that clear tube. No, he's right there, staring at me. And so the killers, the servants, are filling up the clear tube up in that area. Okay. Wall patched up with old wooden something or other. I'm not reading half of this, because you just have this like weird urgency that you really can't take that extra time to read if you would want to read. Okay. Is that a dog or what? So this is basically just a prison cell. Is the tree growing any? Doesn't seem like it is. Have we been in this room? Nope, we've got a pinball table. Needs a ball to play. Can't just pour water into it. Was not expecting a pinball table. We have some kind of magical portal. And so this may be the end game with all the cards. Interesting. Like, that gets weird, to say the least. That it did, all of a sudden you would just see a magical portal, and now we're seeing all kinds of like technology. Alright. And where it seems like we're just gonna have to figure out the sequence. Which I bet it's this sequence. Something is happening. We've powered up one part of the door now. Ventilator keeping people alive. Hey, there's something here. Also, knowledge of this place floods your mind. Was that going to potentially give me the sequence? Have I been getting those prompts in other areas and just missing that prompt? I don't think so. And so we don't even have a death here. So, yeah. Much like the cave, all of a sudden this game is getting a little crazy in the sense of just people are... The rooms are getting weirder and weirder. The game, The Cave. And not to be confused, I guess, with the movie The Cave. Or any other cave. But yeah, it is getting just like weirder and weirder with the story. And I know that there was a certain level of weirdness with this. But I would have thought that there would have been more. Right, so we still have a whole half of this section to view, and we can see that now this entire tube is right there, full of killers. So I assume that each of these killers are the entirety of the killers, so that's about 9 of them, which would make sense. Just standing there. We could go and look at the next room, but it doesn't even matter. Nothing really special happens there. Alright, so this starts you up again. So, yeah, a lot of weirdness, and probably a case where I'm going to have to power up some of this multiple times, and I may just have to brute force the solutions as it is, because I'm not really seeing a lot of people walk around in this area. I'm just seeing the bad guys walk around this area, and so it doesn't even seem like there's actually a person to watch. If I was to guess, maybe the ventilator people are being pulled out of some kind of time portal here and then forced into masks, and that the servants are potentially even the people getting killed, killing themselves and being brainwashed, or they are just some entirely different group of people. If we get past this door, it does seem like there really is just one room, and that's the entire game over at that point, which doesn't quite make a lot of sense. Like, we don't have that third key item, nor do I think there's been a point where it was realistic that you would have even had 6 items in your inventory. There might very well be only about 6 items that you can have in your inventory for the entire game. If we do get past the door and we see this character that we need to save, it may be very quick at the point which we save them. And see, we did use that new ability, which I'm wondering if that is how we're going to unlock things. No. See, here it clearly says an unknown power is needed to unlock this information, so there's going to be another power. But it does say find the Ace of Hearts, find the King of Diamonds to unlock these. So there's more unlockables as it is than just finding the remaining playing cards. More than likely, the brochure should probably collapse each time you leave the menu. Weirdly, I still don't feel like there's a great time to try and find collectibles, though. Like, it doesn't quite feel right that I should try all the way this way, exit out, and go back upstairs, and then run through all of this to find secrets and use that new ability. So yeah, I'm just hoping that the game doesn't say you've won and you can't play anymore. But honestly, if it does say that, if we get past the store and then we're locked into an in-game scenario and we can't play anymore, then I would just kind of give up. I can't imagine that I would want to start over from scratch. Even having learned a decent amount about this game, there's a lot I imagine I would have forgotten. Or I'd have to at least remind myself around as far as how to solve the previous puzzles. And it definitely would be a case where you're just playing the game a second time because the game is forcing you to do that. The cave gets around that idea by being a fairly short game that has 6 or 7 different characters, and you can only play with 3 characters in each playthrough. So you're almost certainly going to have 3 playthroughs at minimum of the cave, and it feels right and it feels good enough that you're not just wasting your time. But also, I would say the cave takes you down different paths based on which characters you play as. So if I was to play this game in comparison the second time, almost certainly I would have to save every single character in the exact same order, in the exact same way I've done it. And I doubt the house would reorient itself or move around. There is definitely a scenario here, if you were going to make a Sexy Brutale 2, where you would try to turn it into a more procedurally generated roguelike game that could be played multiple times over and over again. But that would certainly be fairly hard to do, to even just try and cut and paste rooms into different places. It wouldn't be impossible, certainly, and particularly if you had a lot of extra filler rooms in between the important rooms. You could move around the filler rooms and the hallways pretty easily. But yeah, I don't know if the gameplay mechanic of solving puzzles and saving people is exciting enough to make you want to play it multiple times over and over again. Generally speaking, I can't think of a single puzzle game that I would want to play over and over and over again. Something like a Sudoku or something where each puzzle is specifically different is about the closest thing I could think of. But I wouldn't want to play something like The Witness over and over again, even if it was randomly generating puzzles, because the overall narrative aspect wouldn't change. And I think that's going to be the case here too, is that we get very bored with the dialogue and the general conceit as to how people were killed if you're going to have to play it multiple times. So I suspect that's not what's going to happen. Anyways, I feel like I'm getting dangerously close to rambling, so that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to further follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and give me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.